Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. We're focusing on one of the most exciting new developments in hip-hop in years. It's called drill music. It started in Chicago, then got popular in London. But when Brooklyn artists created their own version, it took off, gaining millions of fans. From the first moment I heard it, I liked its hard urban edge, and now artists from other music genres are taking notice. This Meet the Woo video by Brooklyn-based Ross Swish already has more than 750,000 views. Drill's signature sound, gritty lyrics, and hard-driving delivery make it the perfect soundtrack for the streets in these tough times.
Like, it's just different. Like, we took the drill bass beats and then we put our twist on it, and it was just a good representation of us and our culture.
Brooklyn drill exploded like fireworks with the summer 2019 anthem, Welcome to the Party by the late Pop Smoke. Hot 97's DJ Drewski worked closely with Pop and collaborates with Ross Swish and other new artists. He says they're following Pop Smoke's example of trading in the street hustle for a Los Angeles studio and real music career.
To get away from that environment that you're used to and all the people around you, and you want to go focus, it shows, they want to win. They're not just doing it to go party. Right. They're going in focused to get records done, to handle their business.
Ross Swish says Pop Smoke was like a brother to him and changed his life.
He always wanted me to be on the same level as him. So it was yo, bro, I'm here. You got to get here with me. So, you feel me? I'm going to force you to work. So I had the benefit of having him personally contact me and be like, yo, bro, you got to work. You got to stay consistent.
Drill is so hot that artists from other genres like singer Danny Lay are doing their own versions. The video for her song Dominican Mommy, featuring Brooklyn drill artist Fabio Foreign, has nearly 2 million views in less than 2 months.
Working with Fabi was so amazing. He has so much energy, and then being able to see his creative process, just being in the studio was dope to see, because he just goes in there and just starts rapping. Like, how he sounds on the record is exactly how he's working, which is really cool to see.
There's so many artists that are just emerging off of this sound. And so it kind of shows you the importance of it.
We put together a special lineup of insiders for you from London to Los Angeles. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me from London is music producer Ghosty. Ghosty, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also joining us is DJ Drewski, Hot 97 on-air personality, music producer. He is the one who broke Pop Smoke's huge hit, Welcome to the Party, on the air, as well as other artists. Drewski, great to have you with us again.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Thank you so much. Ghosty, I'm going to start with you in London, where drill started. How big is the drill sound? And just explain it, like, how do you explain it to people?
It's a very unique sound. It originated in Chicago and came to London in about 2013. And we basically changed it up a bit with mainly the instrumental. In terms of the lyrics, and that's pretty much stayed the same, but the instrumental was what really changed. And yeah, since then, since 2013 to now, it's just been evolving and evolving. And obviously now it's breaking out in Brooklyn. So yeah, it's expanding quickly.
Expanding a lot. Drewski, in terms of the sound, he's corrected me with it started in Chicago, but we always think of London as being the place that's had the influence on some of the New York artists. How do you describe the drill sound?
Now in New York, it's become basically a new genre of hip hop, right? So today it's like New York sound. When you talk to the young kids and you ask them what New York sounds like, it sounds like drill music, like Brooklyn drill, what we consider Brooklyn drill and what Ghosty probably considers UK, drill, but it became its own genre of hip hop and the new sound of the young New York. And it expanded so quickly that it went from, the young Brooklyn artists doing it to everyone on the East Coast doing it, to now you have artists like Drake who's jumping on drill records because it's just a wave right now.
And then in terms of the Ghosty, in terms of the music, tell us about some of the music and some of the artists that you've worked with.
In terms of Brooklyn drill, because obviously that's what you probably be most familiar with, I've worked with Ether the Connect, Swipey, 22G's. I've done his most recent album. That's just some to name a few. When I went to New York, we hosted sessions with like Ron Suno, Fabio, all the big names really. So yeah, I've worked with quite a few people, luckily.
What is it about the sound? Because London, you know, Brooklyn really embraced the drill sound, and Drewski, you broke the Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke made it, like, I think, even bigger for a lot of people, to people that might not have, you know, really related to it. But what is it about the energy of the music? Because to me, it's like that driving beat that is so relentlessly urban.
Right. It's just very aggressive, like straightforward. Even the rap patterns and the lyrics how they rap on the beat, it's clear. It's like, you know, when they, at a point they were saying all these down south artists, you couldn't hear what they were saying. When you jump on the drill beat, you hear every word, every syllable, every metaphor. Like, so I think it's just a very clear, straightforward, very aggressive type of, you know, record at the end of the day. When you take that hard beat and that rap pattern and you mix it together, it's like, oh, I feel it. Like it's an energy of emotion that you feel. So I think that's why I connected so well. And a lot of the artists, the content is real gritty, like real raw, you know, from the street. And it just connects instantly when that beat drops and the first lyric, the first word hits. You feel it right away.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I remember the first time I heard "Welcome to the Party." I was like going, "Wow, that's it!" Just it felt like, okay, yeah. And there's a certain mood, and you're just like, "Wow, this is it." Is it that aggressive with the UK version, Ghosty?
It's similar, but when Pop took it, it brought a whole new energy. I can't lie. The Brooklyn scene has evolved very quickly because they brought a whole new energy, a whole new bounce to the drill scene. Which is refreshing, and it's good to hear.
What about Ghosty in terms of because people, you know, I've heard artists, I've heard, you know, A&Rs and people in the music business and DJs too say, well, you know what, people can kind of go along with like an 808 type of beat or a more sing-songy type of hip hop, but something like drill, it's almost like a freestyle. It's kind of like the triathlon of hip hop. You really have to know what you're doing in order to make it work. Ghosty, do you think that's true?
Yeah, I do. The beats are very unique, so you gotta have a certain ear to actually flow on them well. Like it's very, you know, the patterns, comparing it to trap, and it's very, very different. So yeah, you gotta have some sort of talent to jump on drill.
Where are you now in London with it in terms of the sound?
We're going through
because you know, has it kind of like evolved or morphed a little bit, or?
Yeah. It's definitely more the bounce to the beats is getting more hyped, and like obviously because of the Brooklyn transition, everyone's wanting to make pop type beats, 2-2Gs type beats, you know, all these different types of beats. So it's changing, but for the good. I love to see it because I've just got to keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we're excited because you know it's brought such a whole new energy to the whole New York scene as well, and then giving it that whole international connection, which I think is so important. Drewski, when you look at it musically in terms of the audience, in terms of the other types of music, you know, that we play on the air, that you hear blasting from cars, you know, going by on the street here, where do you put this? Like, is it taking over? Are there more and more artists? Because you break a lot of new artists.
Right. Yeah. In New York, it's breaking so many artists. So a lot of these young artists are now getting record deals off this sound. So we're only about a year in, you know, not too far in. So they have some time to capitalize off the sound and to really create something that's going to last for a long time.
We've got more for you right after this. Hey, Rob.
How you doing?
All right, how are you doing? Hey, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. I know you're on a crazy schedule right now.
Yeah, thank you for having me, though.
Thank you so much. So we're talking about, you know, we're joined here by Ghosty, music producer from London, DJ Drewski, who you know, our Hot 97 owns on-air personality, and tell us a little bit about like your music and the influence of drill and what you find that you like about it.
I mean, I feel like my influences is like everybody around me, as far as like when this type of music started. I say first like Bobby Shmurda and Roddy Rebel, like they played a big part in why Brooklyn is where it's at with this type of music right now. And I feel like my music is represent that genre of coming from the streets of Brooklyn.
And what do you think it is about the drill sound that just it so resonates with that hard energy of the streets?
I feel like it's just different. Like we took the drill bass beats and then we put our twist on it, and then it's just a good representation of us and our culture.
In terms of the beats, like where do you get your beats from?
Right now I got my own producer named H2O, but when I first started, I was just on YouTube.
And then you got a lot of traction from that. And Drewski, didn't you guys work together?
Yeah, so me and Ross Swish, we did a song together. It's not out yet. It's coming out soon.
Okay.
We're gonna shoot a video, but then we added Ron Suno, who we spoke about before, on the record. So my whole vision is like taking someone like Ross Swish from Brooklyn, who's doing this, going crazy with it, and adding another element, you know, to the sound, to these records, and just seeing that chemistry. And you know, once it drops and once you hear it, you're gonna be like, wow, these kids really out here, you know, going crazy on these songs. They really express themselves, having fun with it. You know, even in the studio with Ross Swish, his energy was always great. So it was just a automatic like connection. Like, yo, I love what he's doing. I see the potential in him. And now when you ride through the streets, you see billboards of Ross Swish, you know, a year later. So I get so excited to see that, you know, when I see the growth in these artists.
And see that and see that development. Ghosty, in terms of the artists that you're dealing with in London right now, what's going on?
Well, I've been working with Digger D, who just got out of prison, but then he got recalled again. So that ain't good. Heady One, Frosty, Lowski. I'm working with as many people as I can right now.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
A lot of the same issues. Rob, what about the effect that Pop Smoke had on you? Tell us about that.
I mean, that's my brother right there. So you feel me? Like that's just everything. Whatever you can imagine his brother's doing and how I feel about my brother, that's exactly what it is. So that's the effect he had on me.
And my condolences to you, you know, over the loss of him. But give us an idea of, like, you know, a lot of people have said that, you know, that Pop Smoke inspired them, opened their eyes. Drewski's talked about it with his effect on a lot of artists, especially young men from Brooklyn, in terms of what your own personal potential can be. Did he have an effect on you that way too?
Yeah, but like his effect was mainly just having me work, because he always wanted me to be on the same level as him. So it was yo, bro, I'm here. You got to get here with me. So you feel me? I'm gonna force you to work. So I had the benefit of having him personally contact me and be like, yo, bro, you got to work. You got to stay consistent. You got to do this. So that was.
And that was an important lesson for you?
Yeah, definitely, because that was my biggest downfall. Like, I wasn't consistent. Like, I just make music occasionally and just put it out whenever I wanted to. But seeing him do what he did, and then just having him in my ear telling me, like, yo, bro, like, this is serious now. We're not playing with this. You feel me? Like, I'm right here. You got to get here. So I got here from straight work. And you feel me? The label was telling me to work. I'm coming back and telling you to work. So we could just all do it together.
Rob, what do you think it is about Brooklyn that's produced so many artists right now?
I just feel like Brooklyn always had the talent. We just never had the platform to showcase it. And then now that we do have the spotlight, so many artists are coming out of it. There's really great talent in Brooklyn right now.
Drewski, what do you think about that? Because we haven't seen anything like this for a very, very long time.
Right. No, I agree. And, you know, a lot of even back in the day, the big artists, the Jay-Z's, the Biggies, they all from Brooklyn. So there's always been that spotlight on Brooklyn. So when you get these young artists and this time around, I feel like what you mentioned before, everyone kind of stuck together. Yeah, there was little different groups of the Brooklyn drill artists, but if you was a part of a certain group, everyone stuck together and pushed each other up. And I think the youth and the kids were seeing that, and they wanted to be a part of one of those groups. You know, once you want to be a part of something, it kind of just starts emerging. And I think that's what happened, is that they created so much energy in the city that even the kids that were just home wanted to be a part of it. And they were like, you know, they're not officially, but they're tagging along. And I think that's what kind of helped spread the whole sound and the artists and the different groups that were coming out of it. And it's still going. It's still new artists you see coming out of different camps. Every day it's a new artist coming out. So you gotta respect it.
Ghosty, what about that in terms of the evolution? Do you see can you explain for us? Like, I know it's hard because you rather like show with a beat or have us listen to something, which we can listen. We can do that too on Zoom. But the sound evolving, like what evolution do you see from London to what's happening in Brooklyn, came out of Brooklyn?
Yeah, there has been a transition. It's more, I don't know how to put it into words. Like, in terms of lyrically, it's kind of the same, you know, they're discussing the same problems that, you know, which you run into in the hoods and that. But in terms of the beat, I think the beat is the biggest difference. Like the New York ones are more bouncy. They've got like real instruments being used, as I said earlier, like orchestras and violins and strings and all this. But the bounce, the flow is different. And as well, the accent, that New York accent, it fits very well on trap.
You
and
don't have an accent.
well.
You have an accent. What do you mean? Come on.
No, but for me, the accent it catches your ear.
Exactly. Exactly. Rob, what about in terms of your sound, what do you think makes you different from the other artists? Explain that to us. As a person, as a human being, as a person, as an artist. We want to know about Ross Swish.
I mean, I feel like it's exactly what he said. Like it's the way we talk and the way we rap. And me personally, I feel like it's certain things I say that it'll go over certain people's head or it'll be catchy and they'll be like, okay, let me just separate yourself from the pack. We all doing the same thing, but you gotta have a little something that's gonna separate you. And I feel like you can find that in the language and the way we talk and the way we deliver and certain things we say.
And what do you find is your inspiration, Rob?
For making music?
Yeah.
Oh, my inspiration is just like the everyday struggle that I had to go through, you feel me? So it's like, no matter how comfortable I get in life, I'm gonna always resort back to that to motivate myself. Like, always remember where I came from and what I had to do to get here. So it's like, this is a everyday motivation thinking about that.
Like, what were some of the worst, the hardest times that you had to endure just for inspiring other people?
Some of the hardest things I say, just like trying to figure out when your next meal is coming, your next dollar is coming, like, and then still trying to make a career out of whatever you're doing. So as far as I was rapping, it still was like, you gotta rap, but then you gotta go make the money to go to the studio. You gotta make the money to travel to the studio. You gotta make the money to get some food at the studio. So it was just like, damn, while I'm making this music, I still gotta make this money. So that was just like, it was real hard to do that.
And did you ever feel pressured by like the streets, what was going on in the streets, what was happening with the police, what police were doing, any of that stuff?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely pressure, but I ain't never let it get to me because it's what I've been through my whole life. So it's like, you just find ways to overcome that.
And how did you overcome that and manage to get out and get this successful music career launched?
It's really just staying focused. Like, once you really lock in and you focus, you see it's a difference of how you act and how the people around you treat you. They see like, okay, all right, he's focused now. Let me support what he's doing. And then once you got that support system, then to go from there.
And have you found people look at you differently because you're a successful artist now, like people look at you differently or they treat you differently and you're like, wow, I didn't realize it was like that?
Yeah, definitely. It's the outside people, they always gonna treat you different when you winning. But I always told my inner circle, like, yo, no matter how big I get or how big we get, let's treat each other the same and how we was before, so we never get big-headed. I never wanted to be a person that would get some attention and then just, you feel me, get cocky or something. So I just always, so my inner circle really do a good job of, for me, remaining who we were before all of this.
Drewski, in terms of this whole idea of like the focus and, obviously being business-like, but being professional about the whole thing and taking it, that's kind of a new thing too for artists that young and that new to be taking that attitude, right?
Right, and I think sometimes it's the people around them too. So when I hear artists like Ross Swish, went to LA to record and to get away from all the madness and what's going on in order to focus, and you hear, Pop Smoke, he was in LA to record and, just to get away from that environment that you're used to and all the people around you and you want to go focus, it shows, they want to win. They're not just doing it to go party.
Right.
They're going in focused to get records done, to handle their business. And it's like, it's not just the managers no more that's doing it. It's not just the agents. The actual artists are making the moves, to benefit themselves.